Have you ever wondered what holds a massive empire together? It's not just armies and laws. For the ancient Babylonians, the answer lay in the heavens, with their gods. Today, we re-journeying back almost 4,000 years to explore the powerful role religion played in the mighty Babylonian Empire. We'll uncover how one god rose above all others, how priests became kingmakers, and how a legendary ruler used faith to forge a kingdom that would last for centuries. This is the story of gods, priests, and power in ancient Babylon. Before the great empire, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers was a patchwork of city-states, each with its own patron deity. Ur had the moon god Nana, Ero revered the goddess Ishtar, and Nippur was the sacred city of Enlil, the king of the gods. These weren't just abstract beliefs. These gods were seen as the literal rulers of their cities, owning the land and everything on it. The human king was merely their steward, their chosen representative on earth. This divine connection gave rulers their legitimacy. To challenge the king was to challenge the god himself. It was a powerful system, but it was also decentralized. What Babylon needed was a new kind of divine order. Enter Hammurabi, a name synonymous with law, but his true genius might have been in theology. When Hammurabi came to power around 1792 BCE, Babylon was just one city-state among many. Its patron god was a relatively minor deity named Marduk. Hammurabi knew that to build a lasting unified empire, he needed more than just military might. He needed a story, a divine mandate that placed his city and his god at the center of the universe. So, how did he do it? Through one of the most brilliant pieces of religious marketing in history, the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic. This epic poem retells the story of creation, but with a major twist. In this version, the universe is born from chaos. The older gods are threatened by their chaotic offspring, leading to a celestial civil war. None of the traditional, powerful gods, like Enlil or Aa, can face the monstrous sea goddess Tiamat. Then, a new hero emerges, Marduk, the god of Babylon. He is young, strong, and brave. He agrees to fight Tiamat, but only on one condition. If he is victorious, all the other gods must grant him supreme authority over the cosmos. They agree. In a spectacular battle, Marduk slays Tiamat, splitting her body in two to create the heavens and the earth. He then organizes the universe, assigns the other gods their duties, and creates humanity from the blood of a defeated rebel god to serve them. The message was crystal clear. Marduk wasn't just *** king of the gods. He was the * king of the gods, the ultimate source of order and authority. And since Marduk was the god of Babylon, this meant Babylon was the rightful center of the world. By elevating Marduk, Hammurabi elevated his city. All other cities and their gods were now subordinate. Conquered kings weren't just submitting to Hammurabi. They were submitting to the divine will of the universe's supreme ruler. It was an act of political and religious genius. With Marduk as the supreme god, his priesthood in Babylon became immensely powerful. The Temple of Marduk, the Esagila, and its towering ziggurat, the Esamenanki, perhaps the inspiration for the Tower of Babel, was the religious heart of the empire. This wasn't just a place of worship. It was a massive economic institution. The temple owned vast tracts of land, operated workshops, and employed thousands of people, from scribes and artisans to farmers and brewers. It functioned like a state within a state. The high priest of Marduk held a position of incredible influence, second only to the king. Priests were the intermediaries between humanity and the gods. They performed the daily rituals needed to keep the gods happy and the cosmos in balance. If the beer offered to Marduk was sour, it could spell disaster for the empire. They were also scholars, astronomers, and doctors. They studied the stars to interpret omens and predict the future, a practice known as astrology, for which Babylon became famous. They recorded celestial events, creating diaries that are invaluable to modern astronomers. This knowledge was power. The priests controlled the calendar, the festivals, and most importantly, the divine narrative. They could legitimize a king's rule, or if they chose, undermine it. The king needed the priesthood to perform the crucial New Year's festival, the Akitu. During this 12-day ceremony, the king's authority was ritually stripped away and then restored by the high priest in the presence of Marduk's statue. This annual event dramatically demonstrated that the king's power was not his own, but was a gift from the god, granted through his priests. Religion permeated every aspect of Babylonian life. Law was not seen as a human invention, but as a divine decree. At the top of the famous stele of Hammurabi, the king is depicted receiving the laws directly from Shamash, the sun god and god of justice. This imagery declared that these were not Hammurabi's laws, they were the god's laws. Disobeying them meant disobeying the divine order itself. This gave the code an authority that transcended mere royal decree. Contracts were sworn by the gods. Oaths taken in a temple were considered unbreakable, and the penalty for breaking them was divine wrath. In medicine, illness was often seen as a punishment from the gods for some sin. Treatments involved both practical remedies and religious rituals, like exorcisms, to appease the angered deity. Every success, from a good harvest to a military victory, was a sign of divine favor. Every disaster, from a flood to a plague, was a sign of divine anger. Life was a constant negotiation with the unseen forces that governed the world. So, was this all just a cynical power play? A way for the elite to control the masses? It's more complex than that. For the Babylonians, the line between religion and politics, or faith and science, simply didn't exist. They genuinely believed their world was created and sustained by the gods. Hammurabi likely saw his promotion of Marduk not as a political trick, but as a recognition of the true divine order. The priests who interpreted omens from sheep livers weren't frauds. They were scientists working with the best tools they had to understand. A universe they believed was filled with meaning. This system, which so brilliantly fused divine and earthly power, was the bedrock of the Babylonian Empire for over 1,000 years. It gave its people a shared identity, a sense of purpose, and a way to make sense of a chaotic world. It created a structure where the king's power was absolute, yet dependent on the gods and their priests. When we look back at the towering ziggurats and intricate cuneiform tablets, we see more than just an ancient civilization. We see a testament to the enduring power of belief. The story of Babylon is a powerful reminder that to understand any society, ancient or modern, we must understand what it holds sacred. The gods of Babylon may no longer be worshipped, but the empire they helped build laid the foundations for the world we live in today. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this exploration of history and religion, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories from our ancient world. See you next time.